let's take me to day 91. It's decision day. The 90-day trial is up. What conversations were taking place?
At day 91, when we made the decision to transition, then it became how. How do we most effectively create this structure? So, a lot of people will shy away from that change. We leaned into it. We saw the change as an opportunity. So in the fact that we were going to have disruption, well, then just accept it and say, okay, how can we take advantage of this opportunity where we're already going to be transitioning and causing disruption to change other things, to make this as beneficial as possible. So it wasn't just a lateral move from our legacy CRM to a new CRM, just transferring leads, horizontally.
Right.
It was, let's create a new framework. Let's create a more efficient framework. Let's fully take advantage of Chime's platform to make it even more effective.
That mindset is the absolute difference. It's the absolute difference. Some people will see a bad opportunity and their mindset will make it twice as bad as it should be. With your mindset of this is an opportunity that's going to be difficult, but we're going to make the most of it, obviously we've already seen success, and that mindset is a huge contribution to that. So
yeah, I mean, in the launch call, thank you, I appreciate it. Obviously, we're very cognizant of any disruption. When you're dealing with hundreds of partners, agents tend not to like disruption. They want to manage their business. They don't want to change. They learn a process. You get them to adopt that process. You don't want to change the process.
Sure.
I get it. So we're always cognizant of that. And so we were focused on mitigating those things. So we were basically making sure we showed enough value in the new platform that they were more excited about the new platform than they were, nervous about leaving their current way of operating.
Certainly.
And when we had our launch call, honestly, it was the most enthusiasm we have had on any of our announcements or any of our weekly calls when we were rolling out new services. So to be frank, I didn't get any negative pushback, which was shocking to me.
Wow,
yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I know you did this in phases, right? The launch, it wasn't just one rug pull and here's a new CRM, enjoy. There was a process to that. Was Chime helpful in that? Was that something that you completely handled on your own? What did we do, if anything, to make that easier for you?
So Chime was helpful in creating new strategies and how we were going to set up what I call our website infrastructure, our CRM infrastructure. So, how did we want to build it out so that we could, basically solve some of our current pain points in the process that we were having on our previous CRM. So again, it wasn't that horizontal move. It was like, okay, we are going to move. When I move and when we get to our end destination, I want to fix A, B, and C. How can we do it? And that's where Chime came in. And your tech team was extremely helpful in setting up our new websites, coordinating with the different MLSs. We're obviously connected to a lot of MLSs. And so Chime was very, very helpful in that regard.
I would like to pat ourselves on the back in the sense that we have changed our culture to be partner focused rather than vendor focused. I do believe there's a difference between a vendor and a partner in your business. And I'm just really excited to hear that we were able to come through in this instance. So that's great news. Let's talk a little bit more about those launch call with the agents. What was some examples of that positive feedback? Are there any immediate success stories that we have? Just tell me what you think was going through the mind of some of your partners, because that change generally is not met with joy the way you might have experienced. So I would love to hear what their mindset was and how they saw their business benefit.
Well, one of our team leaders was frustrated with our previous CRM, and she had actually gone out to get a different CRM that she was paying for on her dime, and she was in the process of migrating that week when we announced. And I remember she called me right after, and she's our absolute rock star.
Yeah.
But she has very high expectations.
Sure.
And so she called me and she goes, "You guys did something right here." And so she terminated her other CRM and she's migrated her whole database to the new CRM. And I could go into different examples of different feedback. I'll just pass along videos.
Sure.
But what I can say is that, a lot of people are focused on adoption. How do you quantify adoption? How do you measure it? One of the things I will say, and this was one of the biggest factors in why we picked Chime, was the fact that agents can import their private database and only they will have access to that private database. So by bifurcating team leads and private and personal leads was a major thing for us. And so one of the ways you could assess adoption for your platform is how many agents are importing their personal leads, their private database into Chime. And that's immensely higher than it was in our previous CRM.
So you're able to see that agents have in fact imported data, but because of that private setting, you're not able to access the data.
So I can't see how many leads they've put in, but I do know they have because they call me, they tell me, they ask for help, they ask for advice in doing that import process.
Sure.
And you know, one of our agents who's a top producer for us, she had never put her private database into our CRM. She's been with us for years. In fact, I don't think she's ever used a CRM. And she called me 2 weeks ago and she told me that she had put her private database into Chime. And so talking about adoption, it's not only getting someone to start using a CRM for the first time, which is like the first step of a adoption process, but to get someone to put their private database. Agents are naturally cautious. And that makes sense to us. And this is one of the things we said in the launch call. It's like, it's your livelihood. We get why you would want to have an extra layer of protection around it, especially if you decide, you know, like we're no longer delivering enough value to you, you found another opportunity you wanted to pursue. So we got that. And on our previous CRM, if they had entered their personal leads into the CRM, it would have just gone into the same pot. And it's incredibly hard to separate private leads from team leads, and it becomes contentious between company and agent. And we never wanted to be in that situation. And so we knew that if we could get our partners to import their private database into the CRM, just by using averages, like nationwide averages, they would see about a 20% increase in their production just by using a CRM. And that's just an average CRM, not a good CRM, which frankly we've invested a ton into building out to maximizing all of its capabilities. So one of the biggest goals in migrating to Chime was to find a platform that would respect that privacy around their private database, which would make them that much more inclined to not only use the CRM, but to import their private database into the CRM and take advantage of all its functionalities.
I think that is just another great mindset that is vastly underrated, right? The dynamic of respecting that privacy for that partner is going to generate greater partner and company revenue, right? Getting them to use the CRM, statistically, it's undeniable. An agent who uses a CRM versus who doesn't is going to sell more homes. And
you see this is not just with real estate technology. Privacy is increasingly more of an issue with all technology. And in some extent, those are antithetical. You know, privacy around Facebook or all the different social media companies. And you see that they pushed out different updates. The fact that Chime had already had that level of privacy around it, where other CRMs don't, was a big win for us.